Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today we're in Radio Central on the main deck of Battleship New Jersey. This is the 1980s installed radio room. However, it has some equipment that would have been carried on board during earlier commissions as well, such as this teletype machine. This is the newer type, but throughout the ship's entire career she would have carried teletype machines, and we have examples of both the World War II/1950s types that would have been on board and this more modern type on display on the ship. In today's video, we've got a relatively new artifact in the museum's collection to show off, and it's one of the printouts sent from a teletype on Battleship New Jersey and received by a station in Vietnam. This object was donated to the museum earlier this year while we were in dry dock. Now, obviously we were a little bit busy at that point, so it sort of went into a pile in my office, and here we are a couple months later, and we're finally getting to it, and I pulled it out again. I was like, oh man, this was so cool when I saw it for the first time. Kind of busy that day, went in one side, out the other, I completely forgot about it. So, for those of you who don't know, teletypes are essentially text messaging apps for ships. It's analog text message. You type your message in here, it goes to another teletype machine at a receiving station, and then is printed out here. So you can text back and forth. Keep in mind, cell phones are not a thing during the service of this battleship. Certainly not cell phones like we recognize them today. There are some that are the size of suitcases by the very end of the ship's career. So the ability to send and receive text messages is a pretty neat innovation during the ship's career. So text messaging isn't a modern thing. Would you believe me if I told you that neither are emoticons? And I know that thanks to this donation. So this is the teletype. It is a 1968 teletype message from Battleship New Jersey to Coastal Surveillance Center, 3rd Coastal Zone, Vietnam Advisor Unit. It's donated by Quartermaster 2, Keith Marley, who was the receiver of this message and who then proceeded to save it after it was received. So they had been working with the battleship to plot naval gunfire support, and they had used the battleship's radio call sign at that time, NEPP. In the 1980s, the radio call sign gets changed to NJBB, but in Vietnam it was NEPP. So that's why this emoticon here looks the way it does. So here you can see somebody here on the battleship figured out how to type out, how to draw essentially this message so that it would print out with the silhouette of the ship, and then in the top from NEPP to the receiving station, NDJ, and then the letters BZ for Bravo Zulu, or good job, well done. So this group, working with the battleship to send information from forward observers, spotters, that sort of stuff, allowed the battleship to perform its gunfire support missions. So I have a suspicion that the crew sailed up and down the coast of Vietnam, working with various units to provide naval gunfire support, and then sent each of them a message like this after receiving support like that. And it's fortunate that one of these messages was saved to be given to the museum. And you can see this is kind of a cheap paper. It's almost like newspaper. It's not a sort of thing that's supposed to last a long time. There's a lot of acid in it, and you can tell that it's badly discolored because of the age. So getting this to the museum now before it starts to deteriorate and break up more is pretty important to the long-term preservation of this object. And now that we have it, we can get some acid-free stuff on it. We can get it sandwiched open so that it's not going to start to rip along the creases. It's going to help us preserve this for the long term so we can display it and show that in the 1960s, Battleship New Jersey was text messaging emoticons, if you can believe that. I would love to see you guys as emoticons in the comment section down below. Just keep in mind that this is a family-friendly channel, but love to see a better silhouette of the ship. I'm not sure YouTube will give you enough space to do that, but I'd love to see what you can draw out down there. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. It allows us to go through our backlog of cataloging and preserving artifacts in our collection so that we can, one, educate you about it, and two, keep this around for the long term. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support us. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the museum and the channel. Thanks for watching.